All right, I think we're live and I think we're ready to go. So who wants to type up the data, I guess? Any volunteers? Tanner, did you do it last time?
Yeah, I can do it again. I don't care.
All right, why don't you bring it up? We've almost got it down, how to transfer information and everything. So, okay, Michael, while he's doing that, do you want to go ahead and tell us what your individual assignment was, like what you submitted, your article and things?
Sure. So mine was, the title is Appeals Court Weakens Employer Liability Shield in Discrimination Cases. Basically, there was a lady named Andrea Vasquez who she had a sexual harassment she filed a complaint for sexual harassment, and her employer contacted the person who harassed her. That person made up some evidence to show that it wasn't harassment. The employer fired both of them, and she sued back to basically say because of the negligence of her former employer for not investigating the complaint properly, that she got fired because of that.
Okay. So the four elements, let me just make sure I have them right. So the four elements would be number one, the duty. So in that case, the duty would be for the employer that it's their obligation to investigate things correctly. Is that right?
Yep.
So the breach of duty, is that number two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the breach of duty is that they didn't, I guess. I don't quite understand why that's a different one, but so they had an obligation and then they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So is number three the causation? Is that what they call that?
Mm-hmm. So,
So the causation would be because they didn't do it, she got fired. She lost her job.
Right.
And what were the damages then?
That she got fired when she shouldn't have been.
So would it be for like lost wages? Is that what they would consider?
No, it's probably more so wrongful termination.
Okay. All right. It sounds like a good one. Tanner, what you got?
Let me pull it up real quick. So I did mine off of Volkswagen. Right now they face $9 billion in claims in Germany, and also their stock went down pretty drastically. So not too long ago, Volkswagen cooked the books. They lied about their emissions testing to improve the gas mileage in their vehicles. And so because they lied, it allowed for unauthorized toxins to be released in the air, so an influx of carbon monoxide, and then they went ahead and sold their cars in mass production. And the company, they were well aware of their cars not meeting the required specifications, and the increase in carbon monoxide hurts the atmosphere and causes or contributes to global warming, and especially in big cities and in places like you think Utah, where they live in that bowl, and every winter it just becomes super foggy and they get a buildup of carbon monoxide. Well, it contributes to that more than it should, and so it causes respiratory problems and hurts people's health. And so now they're being sued. So I guess the duty of care would be that, you know, they need to provide cars that are, you know, safe to the environment. They breached their duty because they knowingly went ahead and produced their vehicles that didn't meet specifications. Injuries would be respiratory problems to people in major cities, and then whoever wants to file charges about the environment. And then monetary losses would be any medical bills or asthma attacks that people may have from not being able to breathe in the clean air that they should be breathing.
Okay, so the lawsuit is for people, it's not the car owners, it's the people that are having respiratory issues.
Probably both.
Okay, so one of the questions that I have, a couple things that brought up. We actually own one of these Volkswagen TDIs that is affected in a lawsuit. So we have a vehicle. So I'm kind of familiar with this lawsuit. And so in that part of it, so what they did with the cars is they programmed the car, because it's like a software. So the software knows that when it's hooked up to an emissions test, that it actually alters the readouts. It changes things so that the emissions are lower than it really is. And so we bought all these cars thinking that this is the gas mileage we're getting, blah, blah, blah. And it's not really what it is. And so now we have these cars that are illegal to drive, especially if you live in California, because they don't meet emission standards.
Yeah.
And yet we can't sell them to anybody because they're useless. So, but I had never thought about it from the somebody else's perspective. But if it's, I did have a question when you were saying that. If it's negligence, is negligence imply that it's unintentional? Because it sounds like to me what Volkswagen did was very intentional. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, there's negligence and then gross negligence, and that to me would be more like gross negligence, like you're intentionally being negligent towards what you should be doing.
Okay. All right. Did you have any questions about that? For Tanner?
Yeah. So the article that you found, was it only 10 weeks old? Because I know that issue's been older, and that was one of the things we had to do for the article. Just make sure.
It was posted 7 days ago.
Okay.
So yeah, they're gonna start hitting the environment issue on it now that they're starting, because we're expecting a settlement.
Oh, really?
Let's see, in October. We we know what has been approved. It's just for the courts to decide if that's satisfactory, but we know what it's supposed to be as of right now. So we're expecting a settlement within October on that part, but that, like I said, doesn't have anything to do with the environmental issues. So that's okay. My article that I found was talking about the Metropolitan Transportation Authority in New York is suing New York City. So back in May, there was a fire underneath, like they have elevated tracks for their train system. And underneath one of the tracks, there was a huge fire that caused significant damage, and it was on a main railway. And so the Transportation Authority claims that the city of New York City did not, maintain that area underneath, and they actually allowed businesses to store hazardous and flammable chemicals and materials. And so this fire was actually, made 10 times worse, or maybe even started, I'm not sure, by these chemicals that were stored underneath it. And so they're suing them, saying, So their duty would be that this New York City is responsible for keeping the ground, free of clutter and keeping hazardous, waste, or not waste, but hazardous chemicals off of the, to keep it safe. And so the breach is that they didn't do that. They actually allowed several places, underneath, several chemicals to be stored underneath there, which caused a hazard. And then what they're suing for as far as damages, the article said, and I'm going to quote this, the damages, they claim that May's revenues were $2.4 million lower than expected because of the fire. And it says that the fire damaged tracks and snarled the second busiest commuter railroad in the U.S. for days. And although they don't have final costs for repairs, they've already approved $3 million for repairs so far. So that number could go up. So that would be the damages. So that's the article I found.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we just decide which example we want to use.
Yep.
Okay. Flip a coin or something. We can just go down the list like we did yours last week, right, Jody?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, I guess we can just do Michael's this week, and then we'll just do mine next week, and then just kind of go in a circle from there.
All right. Should we use Michael's then today? You want to do that?
That's fine.
Well, actually, Michael, can you copy and like paste your paragraph that you typed up? Or you're on your phone?
Yeah. I can see about getting it to work.
Okay. If not, we can do somebody else's because I have to type up that whole thing.
Well, I can at least get on my computer. It's just I can't get the
Can you email it or something to us, and I can cut and paste or something?
let's see. I think it'll let me type it and not worry about doing. There we go.
Okay,
It
I
works.
see. All right, so I'll copy and paste that whole thing into our example. So then the next part is explanation of our example. Type an explanation. This should explain the principle. Your example is teaching and explain how the example demonstrates that principle.
Have the example, so I guess the explanation, just type out the 4 specific ways that it's negligence.
Yeah, so you might want to just, I guess we could summarize kind of the article, like what was, like what Michael said. And then what I did is I actually just put one, and then duty hyphen, and then wrote what the duty was, and then 2, breach of duty, 3, causation, and then 4, damages. So it was pretty cut and dry.
So let's see, I can at least type that into the group. So the duty would be to investigate the sexual harassment.
Just investigate all
Who needs to investigate?
claims.
Company?
The company.
Okay.
Right. And then, let's see, so there's that. Let's see, breach, duty, did not investigate, which is pretty simple. There's that one. And let's see. Breach was natural foreseeable cause of the harm of causation. So basically, let's see how to word it. It was the cause of her firing, I guess, would be best. Let's see, last part.
So Andrea and her coworker both got fired.
Yeah, and it didn't really explain why both. Well, actually, I take that back.
Just didn't want to put up with them.
Yeah, in the article, just find it real quick.
So what's her name? Andrea.
Andrea.
Andrea Vasquez. So the company fired Andrea for sexual harassment, and her coworker was fired for violating company policies.
So was Andrea the one who was being sexually harassed, or was the one who was doing the sexual harassing?
She was sexually harassed, but it was who harassed her. He faked some evidence to make it seem as if the two were consenting to it.
Oh.
Okay.
So basically, the plaintiff and the defendant just both got fired without anybody really investigating it.
No, the defendant is the company. She's not trying to sue the person who harassed her.
But okay, who made up the evidence, I guess, that they were seeing each other? Was that the guy that did the harassment or the company?
The one who did the harassment.
Okay. But both of them got fired?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she wants to press charges against the company for not investigating.
Not necessarily press charges, just, I guess, it didn't say specifically what she was. Does it say exactly what she was suing for? If anything, I would assume it would be like wrongful termination.
Right.
That's what she's suing for, which would lead to lost wages, whatnot.
I got down for that part, like I'm basically just calling them the plaintiff and the defendant because, one person, if you're in a court, that's how it would stand. But I just said both the plaintiff and the defender got fired without proper representation.
No, it wouldn't be the person's the defendant. It's the employer that's the defendant.
So the company wronged both of them.
Yeah, the company wronged both of them, and I'm sure she might have a separate suit against the person.
So he could be, So in a one-on-one between both coworkers, he would be the defendant, but they would both be the plaintiff against the company.
No, not necessarily. He could decide to not sue for wrongful termination.
Okay.
But this case is solely because she filed a complaint and the company did not investigate it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm just seeing this from I see multiple, at least two, cases that they could make. And so I guess we're on the case that the company is in trouble for just simply firing them, and he's not necessarily in trouble for sexual harassment.
Well, he could be, but this article is solely on the
company.
Right.
Okay. So we talked about directly caused injuries, and then we just have to talk about proving monetary losses, which is basically just them getting fired and not having work, right?
What was that?
That was the third bullet point, or the third thing out of the four, right? And now we're on the fourth.
No, the third would be
directly caused injuries.
Yeah, well, the way I was thinking, the third would be not investigating the complaint that caused Andrea to be fired. And then the damages would be that she was wrongfully terminated.
So if she's fired, that means she can't collect unemployment and stuff. Is that correct? If she's laid off, she can, but if she's fired, she cannot. Is that correct?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
So her damages could be for lost wages, not being able until she found a new job or whatever. And possibly, yeah, I guess that would be it. Just lost wages is all the damages would be, wouldn't it? I mean, I guess it could be like
there doesn't have to be a number to it.
Right, but I'm just saying that's the only damages that it would be, right? Is lost wages.
Monetary damages.
Well, the damage would be wrongful termination, which after that, then you could explain more so because of the wrongful termination, she lost out on potential wages, but the damage isn't necessarily that she lost wages.
So damages don't have to be monetary? Because I thought that's why she would sue them. I mean,
well, what's the best way to describe it? You do at least ask for a certain number due to the damages. So it's kind of like saying, let's say in another example, there's malpractice by a doctor, and something happens to you where you become disabled after whatever the doctor did. That doesn't necessarily have a specific number of the disability, but what it causes can then kind of be totaled up.
Okay.
Okay. So I got a sentence for all four elements of negligence. So I got for the first one, which is duty, the company needs to investigate this sexual harassment complaint. The breach of duty is the company did not investigate this sexual harassment complaint. The direct cause of injury is Andrea got fired and did not receive an investigation. And for monetary losses, Andrea was wrongfully terminated and could not collect. Well, I don't know if we need to put this in, but I said and could not collect unemployment until she found a new job. Or should I just say Andrea was wrongfully terminated?
I'd just leave it as wrongfully terminated.
Yeah, I think I would just put wrongfully terminated, and then, I mean, you could put, I didn't hear if you had that in there, but possible, possible lost wages.
Yeah. Okay, so now we just need a quiz question, 1 right answer and 3 wrong answers, and a Y for the wrong answers.
Okay.
So we could, since there's already like 4 parts, 4 elements, we could just say like, for the question, what, from the paragraph, what would be the direct cause of injury? And then, the answer would be Andrea got fired and did not receive an investigation. And then the wrong answers could just be the other 3 sentences that we wrote down for the other ones. And then just be like, they're wrong because this would be the breach, or this would be the duty, this would be the monetary loss. Does that make sense?
I think so.
It's hard not to narrow down. You could narrow it down to like, what is the, if you explained the case and said, what is the duty of the company? You know what I mean? We could break it down into just one section, but that doesn't really require whoever's taking the test to know all the parts. And is that what we're supposed to be getting them?
Yeah, because I'm reading at least the instructions for the quiz question. It's saying include the part of your example that should be included. So I guess the question should be something that's about negligence, but not necessarily about this case, or if it is, then we have to include that in the question.
Okay. So give me an example of like a question that would fit those lines.
Excuse me.
Is my computer beeping at you guys? Can you hear that?
I hear beeps, but I don't know what it is.
Like a bell ringing almost.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you getting texts or something? Is that what it is?
It's the Google Hangout page. Like, keeps trying to notify me about something, but nothing's changing on the page, so I don't know.
Oh.
Hmm.
So, I was just wondering if you guys could hear that.
What if we approached it like, what if we kind of said, name the, the 4 elements of negligence in this case. And then we could say, some of them we could get partially right. Like this is change what the element is, or change what like, for instance, instead of the 4 elements being, what they actually are, we could name one as, I don't know, something off the wall, instead of the actual 4th. Or we could actually, instead of saying for a wrong answer, the causation was not really what it was. Does that make sense? I mean, each answer would be really long because it would have 4 parts to it.
Are you talking about the first thing you said? Where let me see if I have this straight. So like, your question would be, what are the 4 elements of negligence? And then the answer would be duty of care, breach of duty, direct cause of injuries, and proving monetary losses. And then a wrong answer would be maybe the first 3 that we just said, and then adding something like
restitution, or I don't know, just something different.
I think the same for the next.
But you'd have to pull in the case. So the question would be, what are the 4 elements of negligence in this case? So you would write.
Do we have to include the case? Because it doesn't, at least on the template, doesn't say that we have to.
On the template, it says include the entire question, including the part of your example that should be included in the question.
I think it has to be from the case. I think from the way I understand the exams and looking at the sample questions, they all have an actual case, and you have to. So I think it does have to have the case, but that would be a really long question.
So then going back, could we just say the question would be, in this case, would Andrea got fired and did not receive an investigation, what element would that go under?
Mm-hmm. Or I just had a thought, we could put which one of the following is not an element of negligence in this case. And we could write what they all are. You know what I mean? We could write for A, duty, and then write out what the duty was. B, the next part, and then make up something different for C that's not true. And then D, so they'd have 3 right parts and then 1 wrong part. And we could say what isn't one of the elements of negligence.
Okay. So we would just make up like something for the wrong parts. Is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, so there's 4 parts, right, to the elements. We'd write down 3 of them that are accurate, and then just 1 that's not. And then we just say which one is not an element of negligence in this case.
That would work, except the template wants 3 wrong answers.
No, that
Well, they would.
works because we're saying which are correct except.
All of the below are correct except.
Yeah. So we're
So they're
saying
still only
the
going to
wrong
choose one answer.
Yeah. The wrong or the incorrect information is the correct answer for the question.
Okay. So type up that question and then just send it over and I'll copy and paste it.
Okay.
You get the way you like said it to me.
All right. So you have the case description, right?
Well, we
Yeah.
all do.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't need to rewrite that part, correct?
No, you just write down the question like how you said it.
All right. So if I wrote, let's see.
Wait, don't we have to include part of the case because it's saying including the part of your example that should be included? So
I was
it's
just going to
not-
write like in the above case, comma, which of the following is not an element of negligence. So if he types out what, the summary of the case or whatever, and then I just wrote that's included in the question, would that work?
Yeah, I guess that should work. Makes sense.
Next time
Okay.
we'll just have to open the template in like a shared Google document, and so we can all kind of.
That's probably a lot easier, huh?
Yeah, we'll have to do that next time because we're basically done after these questions.
Okay. So, which one? Can you guys think of something that we can put in there to replace one of the elements, and I'll just start writing the rest of it?
Yeah,
What
I like how you said restitution, right? Can we use that one as a like a false replacer?
I was wondering if restitution would make it would trick people into thinking that was damages.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would think if you use the word restitution, that would
Yeah.
be the
Um, you know what we could do? We could put like I'm typing up duty right now. We could say instead of it's the company's responsibility to investigate it, we could put, it's. Is there a name to the guy, the accused, the guy that is accused of doing the sexual harassment? Like let's say his name is Joe. Say for duty, we could say it's Joe's responsibility to follow, certain guidelines, and that's not what the duty is of this case at all. So I could still have the 4 actual elements, but just have the wrong duty. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you could also just call him like coworker.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say Andrea's coworker.
So what did he, I'm sure there's more than he didn't follow company policies, but I'm sure there's laws. What should I just if I just put for duty, Andrea's coworker did not follow sexual harassment laws, and that's the incorrect one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I think that works out perfect.
Okay, I'm almost done here. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you really quick so you guys can read it. And just make sure that you guys see. Because sometimes, I don't know, I'm kind of a visual person, so I apologize for, whoops. Okay, so this is it right here. Can you guys read it or do you need me to stop? It's right here.
It's kind of small.
Okay, let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, is that any better?
Oh yeah, that's much better.
Okay, so the question would be the above is
So what do you guys think? Does that properly, do you think that, I don't know. What do you think of that question? Does that require everybody to know what the 4 elements are?
yeah.
I think it requires everybody to know what the definition of each of them are.
Yeah, and the duty one's still kind of tricky enough because one might read it and think that's still a duty, but it's not the duty of this exact case.
That's true. Oh,
Which
actually, so the duty, actually, this would be wrong then. If we actually made it a duty, it would be Andrea's coworker has the responsibility to follow laws, or follow sexual harassment laws. That would be the a duty, right?
Yeah.
Is that better? Or do you think that's too tricky?
No, I think either way worked.
Because by saying he didn't do it, that's actually the breach of duty, right? This is
in a case against just him, yeah. Because then it would be like his responsibility to follow.
We could change it like this too to clarify. We could do in the lawsuit against the company, which of the following is not an element of negligence?
I like that. Yeah, then that would be, what was that?
Still have to throw in somewhere, like in the lawsuit against company in the example above,
Does that cover it?
No, in the above example.
Okay, how about if we put regarding the lawsuit against the company in the above referenced case? Oops. Did that cover it?
Yeah.
So above this, you'd have, above this, you would have to give a summary of the case, which we should have already written.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that should work.
Okay, so C is the wrong right answer.
Correct.
C would be the answer that they choose, yes.
Yeah. And then A is wrong answer. Number 1 would be causation.
So for the definite or the reasoning between A, B, and D is that they are actual elements of negligence.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reasoning that C is the right answer is that although this does show a duty, it's not the duty, it's not the company's duty, and that's who she's suing. So the accurate part would be the duty is the company has the responsibility to properly investigate sexual harassment claims. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you guys need this anymore?
Yeah, give me one more second.
Okay.
Then I'm good now. You can get rid of it or whatever.
Okay, so I can stop sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So is that it? Do we need anything else? Is everybody happy with that question?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, me too. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm just taking the feedback real quick. I like this because it makes the feedback like super easy. Oh, shoot. Can you hear me, Michael?
Yep.
I accidentally just somehow muted Jody, and I have no idea what I pressed.
No, I actually muted it. I had to holler at my kids to make sure they were ready. We have to
That's
leave
okay.
in like 5 minutes. So I was going, you probably don't want to hear all that. So
All right. And then okay. All right. I think I got everything typed up.
okay. And then you just need the link as soon as we're done here, right?
Once it closes, it shows me the link.
Oh, okay. And then I'll go ahead and post it in the community also. I'll do that when we're done.
Okay. Who posted to the teacher like what time we were gonna generally meet? Did anybody do that?
I did it once.
Okay. It was in last week's. It was one of last week's homework assignments, and it just said only one person needs to post.
Yeah. Yeah. I posted it there, but I didn't quite understand it because it asked for an upload. I'm going to, I had to create a document that said, we will meet on Wednesdays at 5 or 3:30.
Yeah.
And upload it. And I'm going, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I learned 3 isn't that smart because it thinks that you have to have an attachment all the time.
Yeah, you can't, and it won't let you put a comment in there unless you have an attachment. So,
Yep.
Sorry, I
whatever.
Plug my computer in. It's about to die. All right.
So, all right. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys, so neither of you went to the meeting last night?
No, I was working.
All right. It doesn't start till 11 o'clock at night. So that's not an option for me when I have to get up at 4:30. So, but I can't get to the recording either. I went to watch it this morning and the recording wasn't there. So do you guys know, can we use notes on our test? Have you seen anything about that? Can we use our study guide?
On everything I've read so far about any quizzes that we have to take, it says open note.
Because we have a test that opens tomorrow, right? An exam. Isn't it open tomorrow?
I don't know.
I think we have an exam that's due before Tuesday over everything we've learned so far. You go to I don't know if you guys are doing the study guide. Are you filling that out as you go? But it's over everything that's in that study guide.
Okay.
And I'm not doing real great on it. I mean, I've been trying to do the study guide, but there's still parts of it that I've reread and I still don't even know how to plug in the information. So I'm struggling even to complete the study guide. So I'm like going, oh crap.
Well, maybe we can make a Google document for that and kind of like fill in if someone has the, you know what I'm saying, if someone has the answer for something that's blank. And we can just keep like ongoing Google Docs in our little group. Just be updated.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
I think just as long as we're all actually participating and contributing to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I've actually, and I mean, I think we almost want to do it and then compare it to each other. Of mine that I've highlighted because I don't know, I haven't found out where it is or I don't understand it or something, you know, but other parts I've got, well, I'm guessing I probably have 80% of it done, but so anyways, I just wondering if we knew, if we could use our notes, that would be great. If not, I might be struggling.
Yeah, I just read the instructions and nowhere does it say that we can't.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, it usually says if we can, you know, so I was like going, I don't know.
I thought I read, I don't know about the exams, but I thought I read for the quizzes they can be open now. I'm going to have to look at the syllabus again and find out what we're allowed to do.
So, all right. Well, I won't waste any more of your guys' time. I was just wondering if you guys happen to know that. So I think I'm going to have to take my test on Friday. So I'm going to see how that goes.
Well, we got done a lot faster than before.
Well, that's good. We're getting there. Maybe by the end of this, we'll have it done in like a half an hour. I noticed some of the groups did get it done in like a half an hour. So I was going, wow, what's wrong with us? But anyway. All right. So I'll let you guys go. And we'll see you next week. Good luck on the test, I guess. If you have any questions, you know, we can text or whatever and maybe help each other study for the test or something.
Cool.
Alrighty, sounds good.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.